Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wealth Solution Review. Well, I'm continuing my series on the power of knowing. And many of you have given feedback saying, you know what? The power of knowing provides a lot of knowing peace of mind. And I'm talking to you today about the power of knowing how to not outlive your money. I think of Pete and Sherry from the great state of Colorado. I talked about on the radio program this past weekend. And I'm going to kind of read to you the things that they shared with our team. They said, you know what? We're afraid of another downturn, and we need to protect our assets. Now, many of you have reached out saying, obviously, ditto, the same, right? Chuck, what do we do? What do we do? I'm going to teach you that this coming Tuesday at retirementprotected.com. Before we go there, their goals were, and I like how they shared their honesty. They said, you know what? We're not savvy as it relates to all this financial stuff, and we'd like to learn how to manage our money. We're worried about the economy. We're worried about the direction of where we're going as a country, and we're concerned about the current state of affairs as it relates to our money. We're looking for guidance. We want to save taxes and preserve our income. Well, folks, you've got the headlines out there. Stock market fall costs Americans over $3 trillion. Some of the biggest names in investing link further declines on the horizon for the U.S. stock market. Some are predicting, Morgan Stanley is actually predicting, Mike Wilson with Morgan Stanley says he sees another fall of 14% before the end of this next quarter. And many of you are saying, what do we do? What can we do to control, right, this, even if it's not to run out of money? How do you, as many of you have reached out and said, look, what do we do to protect our current lifestyle so we don't have to lower our lifestyle? Folks, I'm going to teach you this Tuesday at retirementprotected.com. That's retirementprotected.com. And I want to teach you what Pete and Sherry learned, just like you can learn. They said, and this was the result of them taking the time to have the power of knowing, right? Because they took the time to learn the power of knowing how they can eliminate the worry or concern of outliving their money. Now, they're looking to retire. Now, they're not at this infamous age of 72 where they have to start taking these required minimum distributions. I'll talk about that with the power of knowing how to not save taxes in the next upcoming segment of the power of knowing. But the power of knowing how to not outlive your money has a lot to do with how you just protect your money overall, whether it's from taxes, inflation, the market downturn. And many of us have not really, we understand Jimmy Carter. Some of you have commented on what you experienced during that period of stagflation, but many of you have been open to say, you know what, but it's different now. Now we're either about ready to retire, so those of you who are trying to get to retirement, or many of you now they're saying, hey, look, now that we're already in retirement, this takes on a whole different ball game here. And folks, I want to teach you what you can do to protect yourself. It's a complimentary log on and learn education webinar. I want to teach you what Pete and Sherry learned how to do, which was to eliminate their taxes. And that helps control the worry about the downturn. But they also learned how to get rid of the downturn on the specific amount of money that they had worked hard and saved hard, predominantly all in tax deferred, sadly, that still needs to be taxed. But by teaching them how to untax it and then teaching them how to avoid losing it, this was giving them the ability to learn what's called indexing, upside earning with no downside exposure of losing. And that, ironically, outperformed the returns they've been averaging over the last 20 years of taking major risk in the market they didn't even know they were taking. So I'll teach you this Tuesday how to have a quantitative analysis, which is institutional money management, where you can see exactly the risk you're taking and how quickly you might run out of money, but also what you can do to preserve that from happening by getting more return with less risk, but also eliminating the tax. I want you to think about the power of knowing and the power of having the knowing of how not to worry about outliving your money. Retirement peace of mind, retirement independence as it relates to protecting your income, just like Pete and Sherry learned to do, you can do the same. Retirementprotected.com, retirementprotected.com.